you're in frame.
Good morning.
I told you you were in frame. Well, you are.
See, now I'm in the light though, like over here. I feel like
Okay, I'll go over here.
cool.
Hi, welcome to the Julie Show.
Hi.
Julie's going to tell you all about this week's Doomtrooper update. Julie, go.
I don't know anything about it, but I am wearing a cool cat shirt. Yeah.
I feel like it's unfortunate for the straight male dating community that if you're looking for wifey material, it's often found
I don't know where this is gonna go.
by a woman who can rock a cat t-shirt for her love of cats. But there's all that room in the middle, and then there's the other end of the spectrum where maybe the unwifeable material may also rock the cat t-shirts and their love of cats.
Anybody can be wifey material if you just push down what you want inside.
It's not what I was... I'm just saying there's a lot of people in the middle that don't love cats. So you can, like, rule those ones out. So if you're looking for... Actually, I don't think this has anything to do with being straight male. I think this is just generally dating. If you are a man or a woman who's looking for a man or a woman or somewhere in between, and the person you go out with says, I really don't like cats, and just move on. Because, you know, they're in that middle gray area. They're not ready to commit yet. But if you meet someone and they're like...
They're not ready.
But if you meet somebody and they're like, oh my god, cats are the fucking best, then you give it a shot, and you just have to decide if they're like the best human being or the worst human. And they're going to be one or the other. That's it. But the odds are in your favor that they're the best human being because cats are a good litmus test.
I guess I just think it's a weird thing to even hate. If that's the thing that you're gonna say. The cat is going nuts behind us, speaking of cats. Courtney, you're absolutely right. That's one of the
Wow, look at this angle I got. All three in one.
That is why people don't like cats, because they don't like that cats have boundaries. And they get mad about it.
Oh my goodness.
I put a lot of catnip on the top.
There is a party happening in the office today, and Francis Elliott is half something.
It's going nuts. Obama's in there, but he's not really going as nuts. I don't think there's nearly as much catnip inside the taco truck as on top of the taco truck.
Hey, 21 Rick, what's going on? That's a really good username, by the way. Just 21 Rick. Like, it sounds cool, it's short, it's simple, it's pronounceable, and it makes you sound a little gangster, but like in a good way.
The Rickest of all the Ricks.
Like, I don't know, I think of 21 Rick, and I think every time I think of you, I think of a guy at a casino, probably because of the 21, in like a really badass suit, like standing in the corner with the whiskey, smoking cigarettes.
I'm making up all this backstory for a person's username.
That's how my brain works. I mean, you know, if you're a creative person, you have to like think things through. When I hear 21 Rick, I just picture like a James Bond looking motherfucker in the corner of a casino, like, you know, just being a badass.
Think of Rick and Morty. Hey Dizo.
It's Rick with a no K.
Hi, selective duplicate. Hello, friends.
Cat butt.
Now Obama's on the top. King of the taco truck.
And the dog is just worried that this crazy is going to extend a few feet to their left and overlap with his personal bubble.
21 Rick sounds like a gin mix. It's a drink. Can I get a 21 Rick, please?
I won't get into what do I imagine when I hear the buck.
The buck stops here.
That's one way.
That's what I always think of.
Don't worry, Buck. I love you.
I think it's 11/11.
It's 11/11. Make a wish. I wish that Doomtrooper gets finished and everybody loves it and stops posting bad reviews on Steam.
You make it sound, there's so many bad reviews.
We got another one yesterday. It's not. I'm okay. It's a good bad review though. It's not. Here we'll
Not big ski. Okay.
Yeah, we'll take a quick look at it. Let's see.
Extremely chunky
Yeah.
UI.
So it's 4 paragraphs. Extremely chunky UI.
us.
If I were to pretend this was not Doomtrooper and judge the game solely as a digital card game, this is truly bottom tier interface. More importantly though, the cards look ugly. I took out my remaining physical cards and looked at them, which means I don't really listen to the rest of this paragraph. Because nostalgia people are...
Oh, they're the hardest on us,
Yeah,
for sure.
Card type and faction ownership at the top, yellow frame around the art, different background color for each card type, rules text is on black and soft yellow background, easy on the eyes. Warriors have their stats displayed in different colored boxes next to full color symbols, visually interesting and easy to read at a glance. He's not wrong, but he's also forgetting Times New Roman font. The sizing isn't correct.
Yeah, the font is awful
yeah.
on those cards.
For whatever reason, this iteration of Doomtrooper have opted for a gritty grayscale on the cards, while both rules text and warrior stats are uniformly teal and dark blue, one of the worst combinations ever inflicted upon the eyes of man. So that's a great quote.
It was worse.
Maybe I'm being subjective here, but the gray borders on the cards and interfaces are not doing the colorful 90s artwork of Paul Bonner and Studio Parente any favors. I remember playing back in the day as a Wii nerd. The game was unbalanced, but it was cool and stirred the imagination, so we played it anyway. I understand the focus of the developer is to remake Doomtrooper into a modern card game, and I respect that. Do you? However, if I came for the gameplay, there are other free-to-play games on the market. Personally, I came for the nostalgia, and the way the game looks and feels is just not worth my time. Sadly, I don't see myself returning to this game anytime soon. Now, I would much prefer that than just the word water with a thumbs down or whatever. I think that guy gave it a thumbs up, but...
yeah, the water review. I forgot about that.
Or, no, I will not create an entirely new login outside the reach of my password manager to play some card game. Terrible thumbs down.
It's already Monday. Yeah, the weekend passes really quickly. For us, it's still 11 in the morning on Sunday, so I'm still like, we got the day, but yeah. Yes, we are a couple. Juan, we are married.
So anyways, that review is interesting. He's not wrong, and there's a lot of really good stuff in there. Like, I'm well aware that the nostalgia crowd wishes that all the cards just look like retro. I'm also aware that the new players would not play the game necessarily if all the cards look just like retro cards. It's the same reason. I don't think I've ever talked about this exactly before, but if you get an alpha Magic the Gathering card out and you compare it to a brand new Commander Legends Jeweled Lotus full art variant, the only people that will prefer alpha are 45 years old and really nostalgic, because the new ones have improved the font and they've tweaked the setup a little bit, they've made the art prettier. It's an evolution, but it took them
20
years to get there.
Yeah.
So we aren't at the final iteration of what the Doomtrooper cards will look like. We can change them and we can fix them, and I do recognize people's complaints about so I'm trying to lean into the camera.
I know, you're turning me. I'm like, wait!
Well, just for comparison, my shoulder is off the camera and Julie has like 3 feet over here, so...
But I'm so...
I know.
See, I can't see myself. Can we turn
that
it? Like,
doesn't-
I can't... Okay.
You don't need to see yourself.
No, I have to look at myself while we do this.
The green on green and the grayscale and the matrix stuff, like, it was one of those things that looked a lot better in Photoshop versus an actual gameplay, and that happens a lot. So we will be continuing to tweak that, adding new colors. The next update of the game, it might be hard to tell at first glance, but everything on the screen is like 30 to 40% brighter. So that's the kind of thing that we do notice. It's a slow transition to get there. So all of this art is now, when you don't hover over it, much more visible than it was before by about 30 or 40%. So I don't know if you guys can tell that at home, but versus what you're playing normally. But this will go out today, and it'll be a lot brighter. Let's see.
Looks more crisp.
Bug Dr. Diana up. Does that mean you sent a video? Oh, I see. Yeah, so
video, thank you.
Yeah, that Matt is like, no offense to the other guys, but Matt is my #1 bug tester right now. Michael and you other guys, you got to catch up because Matt's bugs come with video files.
That's everything.
That's
everything.
I mean, to be fair, Michael's bugs are just as good because he researches the shit out of them and finds out the steps if possible.
Oh, that's also great.
Michael doesn't find his own bugs usually, though. He just researches other people's. So if someone like Matt gives a video to Michael, Michael will be able to reproduce it faster as well. So it's win-win for everybody. If you really want to, like, you know, get in my good graces and earn, like, there's a special an animated avatar that can only be given out to people who help the community. If you don't have that, Matt, you should. So let me know. But I'm gonna have to come up with more stuff that I can reward, like bug bounties. Like if you find a real valid bug with 100% steps to reproduce it, or a video file, then you get free packs or something.
Steps
like,
to reproduce.
Or a rare variant card.
And that's awesome that Michael takes the time to get the steps to reproduce, because that's the battle to, you know, fixing the bug.
I appreciate everybody's like assistance, but I'm just saying the video files are really badass. What avatar is it, Matt? I mean, I guess I can.
Oh, what is Ruff's avatar? Oh, and yes, earlier, someone with the username Water left a review that just says Water.
Oh, it says he's using the Valentine's Day one, Matt. So yeah, you can actually have that one. It'll be back within the next month, so you'll be able to get it. I mean, maybe we'll just do it from February 1st all the way through. We'll put it back in.
Let's do it earliest.
Yeah, that's the Valentine's Day. So we have a Valentine's Day avatar. We have multiple Halloween avatars. We have a Christmas avatar, which goes away today. It's in the store if you didn't see it. And then we have the Black Friday, which is effectively Thanksgiving.
Today's the 10th. Yes.
No,
also, that is important to reiterate that the holiday card back and avatar go away today. So today's the last day. So you got like what, 12 hours or so?
Wait, did somebody just subscribe? Because it said 6 earlier, and now it says 7, and I don't have an alert. Maybe somebody
I didn't see anybody.
Somebody must have just renewed. So thank you for whoever's just auto renewed, because it went up. Yes, I have 7 subscribers.
We're so famous.
So yeah, so as a lot of you guys know, I've been redoing the target select system. So I'll go ahead and show it while I'm mentioning it, since some of you guys appreciate Doomtrooper. Let's see, let's do this one.
It is important to stay hydrated.
So the target select system that usually pops up that shows you like all the cards on the board, it had a very simple way to say like only show your squad or only show influence cards and stuff like that. But, excuse me, I've been redoing it to be a lot more efficient. So, and customizable. So there's this new card called What Is Thy Bidding? It says for each card you annihilate from your hand, you may draw one card from your draw or discard pile. You may draw cards from both piles. Annihilate all cards before you draw any. So it's tricky because it's not just selecting one card like normal. You have to select multiple ones. So I finished this last night. Select up to 3 cards. So as you select them, they gray out and it tells you how many you've selected. But I say I'm only going to select 2. I want to get rid of this Chaussier and this Chaussier. So I'm going to get rid of those 2 cards. So now it knows. Oh, and the reason it was only 3 as a max is because I only have 3 cards in my draw and discard pile. So you can't discard more from your hand than you're going to be able to choose in the next step. So it's smart enough to know that the next step has a max of 3. But I only selected 2, so when you get to the second step, instead of saying 3, it knows that I only picked 2 from the first step, so it downs it to 2. So now these are the cards I'm going to draw. So these are everything in my draw and discard pile. So I want to draw these 2 mortificators, and then I complete it, and everything goes through. It's a little tricky there, what you just saw, which I'm glad he did, is I did the move, which could have discarded my miscommunication. Say I discarded them for some reason. He miscommunicated me, so he canceled that action, which gives me back all the cards I was about to discard. Then I miscommunicated his action, which allows me to respond to his miscommunication, and then it goes back to the thing. So it is possible, if you were to discard a card and then use it as a response to his interrupt, that you could change the math a little bit, but we'll see. Well, that seems to be okay. But yeah, that's doing a lot more logic to try to decide, obviously, the cards that you're able to select. Another good example Wow, another good example is a card called Making an Example.
Hi, Thorgal.
Hey, Thorgal. So in this case, it's a card that says for every 5 destiny you spend, the base V of the target is +1. So if I drag it to the warrior, it's going to ask me with a slider how much destiny I want to spend. So that's also a new functionality. But as you know, I'm trying to complete the code so it all works. If you just drag it anywhere on the board, it will first say, well, who did you want to target? I want to target the Mortificator. And then it'll say how much. So it's smart enough to know, based on where you drag the card, what step of the selection you are, which, I mean, hopefully if you think about it as a player, you'll appreciate, but as a programmer, you should appreciate, well, it's as well. It's dynamically helping you. Another example of this new system, the bot's going to go first, so let's let him do his maneuver. But another example of this system, so the idea is that this target select system should be smart enough to help you.
Cat's going crazy back there.
To help you decide what cards you're playing. Even if you don't understand how to play Doomtrooper, it kind of holds your hand a little bit. And before it gets sent to the server, it's already kind of pre-validated and helps you make your move. So I want to play Making an Example, right? It's for every 5 destiny, but I only have 1 destiny. So I'm going to say, I want to play this. Nope, you don't have enough destiny. So I'm going to get rid of my guy, and I'm going to give myself an infinite amount of destiny. Oh, never mind. I'd have to do. So if there were, I was thinking it was my turn and he didn't play anybody. So in the case where I have a ton of destiny but no valid targets, it'll pop up the thing that says there aren't any valid targets for this card. And it doesn't matter if it's the first target or the second target. It will check all of them before it activates to make sure that the whole pathway will, its best guess, be executable. So that'll help a lot of instances where a player tries to play something and they don't have enough actions, they don't have enough destiny, whatever. The downside is it changed the system a lot for target select. So we have had a lot of bug reports that report, oh, where's the camera for the cats?
Uh-oh.
That cards aren't working. Wow. They're not activating properly, that kind of things. So we need to keep those reports coming. And I'll have to fix them as they pop up. But that system with the slider and the smart select system and all that is the foundation for pretty much all of the remaining cards except a handful. So that's why this update has taken so long to get out. It's because it's a major rewrite of the target select system. And for anybody with a little nerdy knowledge, all of that stuff is stored in the card database, the valid targets. And when you try to play the card, it turns that database entry into a query to select all the cards that you can select currently. But that all happens on your computer. So it's before it goes to the server, before it causes a bug, before it causes an error and says, oh, that was a bad move, you can't do that. All of that target select happens on your computer, which will prevent bugs from the back end and frustration of you selecting a bunch of stuff and then getting an error. So it not only will add a bunch of new cards, but it will also make the user experience exponentially better in ways that you wouldn't really realize until, you know, a month goes by and you're like, oh, this has actually felt a lot better. Which is very similar to the...
It is so big.
It's very...
Drop your hat.
It's very similar to the previous update where I made everything a little faster. It took me a lot of time and it didn't really immediately give you guys any new stuff. But as you started to notice, the drag was faster, the drop was faster, selecting cards in your hand was faster, some of them were grayed out. Like all that stuff, you don't immediately notice, but as you play a couple games, you're like, oh, this feels a lot better. And that's the kind of thing we're looking at here.
I mean, take the hat off. What are you
I
doing?
wasn't going to wear it the whole time anyway.
Oh, no?
I had to rep Liquid Death, our sponsors.
Hold on.
I know now I have a...
Yeah, but turn to me so I can, like... Okay. You like do this.
Might as well spit on your hand and rub it on me. So yeah, it's a pretty major update. I didn't get all 5 cards done, but I showed you guys we have making an example, which is for every 5 destiny, the base V of the target is +1. We have what is thy bidding, which is for every card you annihilate from your hand, you can draw 1 from your draw or discard pile. We have I forgot the other one. Hold on. Call for backup. Play on your defending combatant. For every 7 destiny you spend, add the fight and shoot of a different warrior in your squad to the combatants. That's another interesting one because it has to force you to only select cards that you can afford to pay for. So if you only have 7 destiny, it has to know you can only select 1. If you have 14 destiny, you can select 2, etc. And that's a really interesting card. That is... So if any cards got moved to factions, this would be a card that I think we would move to Imperial, because we like the idea of them being like the scrappy, like banding together type warriors. But that's fun. And then sometimes in developer mode, I get a weird bug with the drag and drop. There we go. Sharpshooter. So for every 2 destiny this warrior spends during combat, its fight is increased by +1 until the end of combat. Now, I have to change the text on this card because you can't activate cards during combat yet. That's something that I'm going to have to address when I bring back Young Guard. So,
say? Oh, Imperial. He means Imperial already has.
Yeah, they do have a similar card. You're right, Thorgal. If you guys remember, there's a temporary UI for Young Guard when he comes back. So you get the ability to drag and drop a card to the interrupt, but the little temporary UI would pop up on the side and allow you to select Young Guard's activated ability. Well, that's going away. And when Young Guard comes back, cards like him and Sharpshooter will show up. If you've ever played Magic Arena, you can play cards from your graveyard, but it will separate your hand over to the left, and it'll have a second little hand over to the right that will have your graveyard cards. So I'm looking into that kind of behavior. So if you have a card's ability that can be activated, I'm working on showing it to the side so that you can still drag it and play it. So whether or not you're responding to an interrupt or combat with a fake card or an activated ability, it'll all be right there at the bottom of your screen. So it'll be a familiar interface for activating real quickly because you only have 8 seconds to activate. I think that will be a little bit better, and it'll kind of transition well into the future. But if anyone has opinions on that or they hate that system for Magic, let me know. From Magic, let me know. But when I was playing Magic, I was like, how are you going to make me activate a card from my discard pile? And they show it as like a secondary hand. Luna Memorial Hospital, we did a hack, if you remember. It turns into the ruins. So it still takes a spot on your influence, but you have to activate it to revive. Well, the original, if you read the card, you may return this card to your hand from your discard pile for 3 actions. That should be the same system. It should show up in the lower right of your hand, and you can play it from your discard pile, but costs 3 actions. So that will open up a lot more customizable doors for the rest of the cards as well. So, other than changing some text, this update should be done. The other thing that's important that I almost forgot, but I managed to do yesterday, is if you play one of these cards during combat, you still have the timer. So it's easy for the timer to end while this window's covering it up. I fixed that, so I hoisted the timer up to this window.
Sorry, I don't think I've ever heard you say that word.
I said it yesterday, and your response was exactly the same.
I did not. I would remember you using the word hoisted.
We were on the walk with the dog on the corner of Laurel and Norton, and we were starting to cross the street, and I said hoist, and you said hoisted!
Cracked myself up, apparently.
So if you are selecting cards in that window and there's a timer, the timer will show up in the bottom with the pause button still. So if you need more time, you can pause it from this window without having to close it and go back, which is a little UX improvement. And the next step of the target select system is I'm going to be able to split the window. So, for example, if you are selecting from your discard or draw pile, like what is thy bidding, I imagine I can split the window in half and show draw cards at the top and discard at the bottom with two separate searchers. So it's very clear this is the mortificator from my draw pile versus the one from my discard pile. And then if you're selecting your card versus the opponent's card, you could split and say your cards and opponent cards on a separate window. But what I would like to do in the medium term, which is totally doable now, is if you come in and you're making a target select, that is select a target that's on the board. So I have Mortificator out, right? And I drag what is making an example and it wants to know who I'm targeting. This, if you just think in terms of UI, what if I got rid of this whole window you're looking at? What if this is all gone and making an example pops up in the corner and everything on the board grays out except valid targets? So I drag this guy here and it just pops up into the corner somewhere and everything is grayed out on the board except the Mortificator. And it says choose your target. So then I reach over and I just click right there on him and it goes, cool, you selected Mortificator.
Bye, Courtney. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, Courtney. There's no reason that we can't have this window in certain instances just let you select things that you can see, which might make it a lot more intuitive if you drag this to the board and it just says choose your target.
That way of selecting sounds much better.
Yeah, so all this window does is it has the action. It knows the game ID, the player, and it knows the card I'm playing is making an example, but it has a blank target. When I click on this, now the target has an array of one thing, which is the Mortificator, but value is blank. And then I choose this and I click confirm, it puts everything together into that action and then it sends it to the server. So this whole UI does not matter. It's not doing anything to the server. It's only on your computer and it's preparing the action for the server. So I can make this UI do anything. All that matters is when I'm done clicking that the action is ready to go to the server. So there's no reason that I can't, I guess that's similar to Magic and Hearthstone as well, where it's choose a target, but it would just allow me to click on them and maybe draw an arrow between them, that kind of thing. And I imagine when I click on the Mortificator, it would show up on the right as well as a list of targets. So if it's multiple targets, I would be, you'd be fanning them in the corner to show all the targets you've selected. So this foundation, like I said, it's going to look very similar to what you saw before, but the underpinnings are completely done. It will feel better, it'll operate better, and it'll set up all of the next phase of stuff that's happening over the next couple months. So I'm very excited for this, and hopefully I conveyed my excitement a little bit to you guys. All right, Julie, you're up.
Did you guys see Conan the Barbarian talk about what happened in the United States this past week? Arnold Schwarzenegger released a video. Yeah, I mean, that's like tangentially related to Doomtrooper because, when it was Target Games, they also owned Conan, and now, what is?
I'll see if you'll get there, go ahead.
Heroic Signatures. No, wait, that's not, I don't know. Fred's company also owns Conan.
So Fred, if you're watching or you're watching this in the past, I've said it to you before, two things. One, I love you. And two, you have this weird fetish for creating way too many companies. Like if you, I don't know what's going on.
Property safe, I'm sure, and
I don't know. Yeah, I know the gist of it, but so it's like Conan Properties International owns Conan, but Conan, and I might be wrong on this, but Conan Properties International is owned by Cabinet Entertainment.
Okay.
So
sorry.
Fred's company is Cabinet
I
Entertainment.
know that Target is not a thing anymore.
Right.
To be clear, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so Target became Paradox, Paradox became Cabinet.
I don't even remember the Paradox.
So Cabinet owns Conan Properties International, but they also own Mutant Chronicles International. Now, just to be clear,
Conan is not a part of Mutant Chronicles.
correct, but they are both owned by Fred.
Yes.
So that makes Conan.
I said gently
Right.
related.
You're close. So that makes Conan effectively a sister to Doomtrooper. That sounds weird.
Or
Think of
brother.
a big woke sister company. Yeah, but brother company's not really a phrase.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
So
you're
Conan is family to us. So we got to see Conan
right.
go on TV and show the sword from Conan as a democracy metaphor.
That's the whole point. It wasn't just that Schwarzenegger came on and like made a speech. He took out the Conan sword, like his prop from the movie, and was like,
I will say that
our old governor.
when we first started this game and Fred was super excited about Digital Doomtrooper, which is before it took 4 years to finish, we did discuss finishing Doomtrooper, moving on to Cult, then doing Dark Eden, then doing a Conan card game. So, anything's possible. Crossovers even, maybe. That'd be fun. But yeah, it was really cool to see that happen. Oh, and just for clarification, so Heroic Signatures is more of Fred's companies. There's Heroic Signatures and there is Perilous Worlds, I think. There's more of them. I'm just the ones I know about. So Perilous World is part owned by Cabinet, but is in charge of licensing all of their intellectual property to books and novels and literature. Heroic Signatures is part owned by Cabinet, which is Fred, and is in charge of licensing all of their properties to video games and digital. The reason he did that makes sense a little for me, more so than me trying to memorize all this. Fred does not understand video games, but I understand video game, and Funcom, who works on Conan, understands video game. So Heroic Signatures has people from, say, Funcom involved to help Fred make the best decisions for digital games. So that's why Heroic Signatures is my new partner, because my game is digital. So I don't have to just get approval from Fred for ideas. I can also get approval and help from people who are in the video game industry who might be able to assist me in ways that Fred isn't super, have a lot of expertise in. So he's doing the best to make sure that his properties are spread to multiple mediums by people who understand those mediums. In a way that includes us, because my history in video games would outweigh his history in oh yeah, I wore my nostalgic hoodie today. His history in video games, just because I've worked in the industry, so that's why in certain instances in the past I've helped Fred and Heroic Signatures with some of their video game questions. So
Sean Gallagher variant card with Schwartzy instead.
we actually, do I have them? Oh, the cats are passed out in front of that drawer. Let me check out there.
This is what happens when you do too much nip. You just pass out afterwards. Just pure exhaustion.
I think we have it on a G drive. Julie, entertain people while I find this.
I was just talking to Matano. He will be streaming in English from here on out.
What?
Yeah, because he always tags us, and I'm like, in English? What? In English? He said, last Sunday I tried to do the stream in English as requested by many followers, and it was a success. So I decided to switch from Italian to English. So there you go.
Let me see if I can
Whoa!
get this.
What is that?
Um,
Oh my god.
Wish there was a way. If anybody knows how to get OBS always forgets my Chrome instance and I have to reopen it. So I have to reset it up because the title changed. So this title is Dev Picks Drawings. The previous one was something about Doomtrooper, so it doesn't show up. But this, so when we first started testing Digital Doomtrooper, we had new cards. So we printed some new cards, and for the ones that didn't have art, you'll notice the Cartel Guardsman here in the top left, then in the middle, the Cartel Grunt, and then the bottom left, the Cartel Soldier, and on the far right is War Medic.
All different iterations and ages of the Governator.
Yeah, so you'll notice that we use Arnold Schwarzenegger as the debug test cards when we physically printed them and did some tests.
What's so weird is that he was California's governor for 8 years, and in case you don't know,
Sorry, the war medic pick is creepy. It looks like he wants to sew faces to
don't
asses.
say that. Oh my god. Ew. Ew, ew, ew. He's Republican governor for 8 years. I don't remember any of it. Like, I didn't care because California wasn't my, like, home state. And I guess I just never paid attention because I really couldn't tell you if he was a bad or a good governor or how many things he did that, like, are different from, like, things that I would have liked to have seen as a Democrat or not. I have no idea. I don't even know. Couldn't even tell you. I guess nothing that crazy happened, but yeah. He terminated his opponents.
I don't know why camera 2 has failed again. So
maybe the phone is dead.
No, I charged it. It's on. It just stopped showing up in OBS starting recently. I think there was an update for the app. So
That's a thing.
yeah, we'll have to redo it. Fix it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are big fans of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I don't think we have any chance of getting the rights to using his likeness officially, unless we might literally be able to use his likeness from Conan, if we wanted to make that variant card. But at this point, I'm not going to worry about that.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know.
But I have said before, we do have cards in Doomtrooper now that are scenes from the Mutant Chronicles movie, but people don't even realize it.
Oh right. Thomas Jane.
No, that's not a fit. That's a missing art card.
Oh,
But an
okay.
actual one. So this, people don't realize, is a scene from the Mutant Chronicles movie. So that is not like
It looks like art, like
it looks
art.
painted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is a screenshot from the film.
To be honest, I can't even really tell what's happening in this photo. It's like looks like water and maybe a ship.
It's like a ship taking. Yeah. It's like a ship taking off from the bottom up. But yeah, people don't realize that is a film from Mutant Chronicles.
A still from the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. It really just looks like painted art, like any of the other cards, you know. Not a Studio Parente art, to be clear. Those have too much like black outlining.
So the update is scheduled to go live today. We'll include those 4 new cards, and then the other cards that I'm working on will just go out next week. I don't know what's going on, but we have a crazy amount of games today. Like, I think we have more games this morning before I started my stream than we had all of yesterday. So
yeah, this is the number it's at now is, I would say, a good day for the end of the day. I'd be like, oh, that's good. But yeah, this is interesting. It's weird doing this because sometimes you don't know why. There'll just be like these spikes. And we're really not doing a lot of marketing right now. So it's so random. Sometimes we'll see these things and we're like, why? Why is this happening? What can we attribute this back to? And like,
I view that as a good thing, though. Like,
I mean, it's great, of course.
I know
but-
our game isn't done, and I know our game isn't perfect, but I know our game. My goal has always been from the inside out. So, like, I want to make sure that the foundation is solid, and as the foundation is solid, I'll do the next layer and then the next layer, and that's where we're at right now. Somewhere this layer here is the new target select UI, but then soon we'll go up another layer and we'll start adding stuff like ultra rare animation. You play Sean Gallagher, and Sean Gallagher slides in from the side and taunts your opponent. Like, that stuff is on the roadmap, but that's the top layer of the onion, you know, metaphorically speaking. And I've been working from the core of the onion outwards for 4 years. The reason I did that is it's easier to, if you imagine a house of cards, I've glued the first 30 layers of the cards together so they won't fall down when somebody blows on them. And that means I can add more. But had I not done that, the higher the house of cards got, the more risk of the whole thing collapsing. Thank you for the follow there, Cyrus.
See that? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very into technology and not just games, which means I want the foundation to be solid first, so that we have a good gameplay that might not be beautiful, but it's a good game. and I think our numbers reflect that. I think the people who stick around and play, some of you are here just for the nostalgia and you come and go, and that's fine. But some of you, it's a combination of the nostalgia and the recognition that the game mostly works. And it works better, arguably, every time I get a chance to patch it.
I think people know that. I think that's why they do stick around.
Yeah, that's always been my goal, is to let you guys know how passionate I am about it and why I'm doing the things that I do. And I think the people here, especially that notice that, you guys listen to me, you understand what I'm trying to do, you know where it's going. But it's the people who log in, do the game once, and then give us a thumbs down. Like, I can't blame them. That's just the market. But I wish that they would just take the extra 5 minutes to research it. But you can't expect somebody browsing Steam to research every game that they're playing.
Shit.
Yeah, they don't owe me shit. But hopefully they'll come back after a couple updates.
The buck. It is still leaning EU. We do see more gameplay a little earlier in our California time than later in the night.
However, I am going to soon be updating the experience point system. So when we launch, you will be able to level each faction from level 1 to level 5 with a future patch taking it from 5 to 10. And that's where you'll earn the faction lore card, the full art one. You'll earn the faction logo avatar, the modern 3rd edition one. The faction logo card back, also modern 3rd edition. And eventually a custom versus screen that will show up when you finish leveling everything up. So those rewards will be really cool, and they'll be available for all factions. It'll take about, as of now, 250 games to get to
BRB.
With that faction to get to rank 5, and another 250 to 350 to get to rank 10. So it's not meant to be something that you do real quickly. It's meant to be, you really love Imperial and you play it all the time, you will level it up over time. For comparison, Hearthstone's golden hero is 500 wins with that faction. I'm leaning more towards games than wins, but it's still up in the air. But anyways, that'll be experience points. And then you'll also level up your account at game launch from 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. And you'll get rewards as you level up. So experience points will become a more important thing. And I'm going to be saying we will have happy hour, basically. So if you play from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific, or 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. average European time, I don't know, GMT maybe, somewhere over there, there'll be 2 happy hours. You'll get a bonus in your experience points for playing. Which means if you really want to level up, you can wake up at American happy hour and play, and then sleep, and then wake up and do European. Like, you can double dip.
Imagine! You could take your whole life and just schedule it around Doomtrooper.
If you really want to be like number 1, you want to be the top ranked experience points, all of the things unlocked, like, you can do that. And we will have a handful of people who do that.
Imagine.
But I want to encourage people to play during the off hours, which are currently Pacific prime time. 21 Rick is gonna do it. Yeah, Matt, you might do it too. I'm not ruling you out.
Matt, so wait, he texted you that he's gonna be streaming in both languages, because he just told me he's gonna be streaming in one language.
Sounds like he's double dipping.
What's up?
Cyrus, Doomtrooper looks. Thank you. I like your little avatar. What is this thing? The Good Luck Have Fun pledge? I don't know what that is.
Oh, also, it took a really long time for the bot to show, or for Twitch to show that he followed.
Speaking of bots, is my bot here? He's been working. Great. For non-toxic people. Well, then you are welcomed here.
We like non-toxic people.
If you choose to write us a review, please make sure it's also non-toxic.
It's a pledge for behaving nice.
Aww.
It's cute.
That is neat. Oh, speaking of behaving, I kind of forgot, but it might be coming back soon. When you finish a match with somebody, I want there to be some kind of rating system. Like, was your opponent fun to play against? Was he a dick? That kind of thing. But what I'm leaning towards. Sorry, I drink a lot of bubbly water.
You can't do it anymore. No bubble water before sleeping.
So
Still liquid death from here on out.
So Duelist had a rating system, if anybody played Duelist, but it wasn't, was your player good or bad? It was, do you want to tip your gold to this player? That was the only option. It was, I want to give them my money, or I don't want to do anything. And it's always stuck with me because it...
Wait, like just as a nice thing to do, like, you were a good opponent.
Yes. Here's 5 Cardinals coins. That's always stuck with me, and that's probably going to be my first attempt. Because then you're not looking at players of who is a bad player versus who is a normal player. You're looking at who's a great player versus who's a normal player, and it kind of flips the script a little bit. So I would like there to be the ability to tip your own coins to your opponent at the end of the match, similar to Duelist, and then you have leaderboards for who was the most tipped and who gave the most tips.
Did that bad.
So let's say Brian plays all the time, Arch Inquisitor, and he's just really nice because that's the kind of guy he is, and he just gives money to all his opponents as he plays. He would be rank 1 for that month of being the biggest
for behaving nice
philanthropist, and he would get a reward. Maybe he'd get maybe the number 1 giving player gets a special pack of cards that's all variants. Like something like that. Like I think
you're encouraging niceness.
Exactly. I'm encouraging good behavior in the game versus bad behavior, which organically might lead towards people not trolling as much and not playing overpowered decks against entry-level players and that kind of thing as much, because they just want to be recognized as a good person instead of the fear of being downvoted. I mean, this is kind of a variant on why Facebook has a like button and not a dislike button, or why Twitter has a favorite button and not a, thumbs down button. Like, you get more flies with honey than vinegar. Is that what they say? Yeah. And I think as my quest to be like the good guy developer here and to work with the community, I think it makes a lot more sense to have you upvoting other players than downvoting another player. There's always the in-game feedback where if you really get fucked over by somebody, pardon my language, like you can send a private message to the developer and be like, this guy's cheating. Like that's always going to be an option. But as an official gameplay mechanic, I think we should vote him up and vote him down. Do the players downvote the opponents? Yeah, I'm saying that we shouldn't have that.
No.
You should only be able to upvote them by giving them your own gold. So if you earned 200 gold today, you can spend it on a pack, or you could give it out to your opponents if you want. I think in Duelist's case, let's say a pack costs 200 gold, your tips would be like 5 or 10. Like you're not giving 200 gold to your opponent. You're just tipping them. You're giving them a little percentage of what you probably just earned. And I like that. So I plan on going down that path. Probably after the new tutorial is live, I'll be able to do that, which I'm starting working on finally. Maybe today. Maybe today I'll do the first steps in the new tutorial finally. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. For real.
The day after.
No, for real. This target select was my big push. So next week the push is more cards and starting on the new tutorial. And as
new tutorial.
I know. And as I showed in here, so I have these new buttons down here for developer. You guys won't see these when this goes live unless I forget to turn them off. But it allows me to say like, oh, I want to test like, I don't know if this card's on. No, I turned that card off. It allows me to test new cards. Like I want to test Sharpshooter, so I click this button and it'll drop me straight into a game with Sharpshooter, which is great. It makes testing a lot quicker. I don't have to type anything. I don't have to copy and paste anything. I start a game with just these 3 cards, which allows me to test Sharpshooter. And then I have a miscommunication in case he miscommunicates me. See, I don't have enough Dusty to activate Sharpshooter. So that's really handy. But what I'm planning on doing is getting some stuff in the developer menu down here you can see. And one of them will be test new tutorial. And as I start working on the faction war factions, I'll put faction wars, Imperial, Cybertronic, whatever, and you just click that button, and it'll drop you into the development version of that event.
So anybody can test.
Yeah.
Elements.
So you won't gain rewards, but if you want to help the development of the game, you can go through the storyline and tell me what you think of the dialogue, find any bugs, that kind of thing. And of course, you can earn, like I was saying earlier, bug bounty rewards, like that community avatar, and in the future I'll have more stuff. But I want to encourage you guys to help test things early instead of later. And I can start putting those buttons in here. For example, I want to, in the next couple months, test like an arena mode, like a baby draft, whatever you want to call it. We could put a button in here where I could say, hey, let's test arena mode. Go in right now. And you click that button, I click that button, and we dropped into a draft together. Like, all that is already built out. We just have to do a little bit more and then put a button in here. And I think that'll be really cool. Another thing that'll be coming soon is the choosing of your usernames, which I've promised for a long time. We will announce it like a month in advance, and then you'll get a chance to come in and pick your final usernames. Yeah, because a lot of people, if you don't know, didn't pick their username. A lot of people like registered via Discord. So everyone basically will get flagged with the ability to change their username once. So you'll log in, you'll go into the menu, you'll click on count, and there'll be a thing under change password that says change username, and you'll change it, and then it'll tell you you already changed your username. Please issue a support ticket if you need to do it again. So that'll help people finalize their usernames.
That's exciting.
For some people are probably worried, which is fine. I think it'll be a fair system. And then a referral system. So we have a really cool avatar of a bunch of Razides marching together, like kind of purplish colored. It's really neat. So to earn that avatar, you will have to invite 10 friends who actually play at least a handful of games.
That's a big ask.
I mean, it's not...
10 people? I don't even have that many friends.
Well, I just told them that they have to play over 500 games to earn max rank in a faction. So I think inviting 10 people is... See, what people forget, though, when they get mad at stuff like that, like my wife, is everybody thinks...
I don't have friends.
Everybody thinks that they want instant gratification. Me too. If I said, do you want $1 million today, or do you want $1 million that you work towards in a year? Everyone would say I want it right now. But a great example is that I played an MMORPG for 11 years to earn a rare staff that I was one of the first 5 people in the whole world to get. And that's one of my greatest life accomplishments, how sad that is.
This is before me.
I played for 11 years. 10 and a half of those years spent getting the staff. And then once I got it, I stood around to show off the staff for a while, and then I quit playing. Because you think you want that thing right away, but once you get it, the carrot's gone. You no longer have something to work towards.
So you still think you're going to get a tattoo of that staff on your arm? I haven't heard you talk about that lately.
Well, because there's only one artist that I can think of to do it, and I can't travel to her. But yeah, for fun, I mean, some people some people have seen my...
He's taking a pull off, guys.
So if you have any interest in tattoos, so I have Link here in 16 8-bit variant, holding the heart, which represents getting stronger. So that represents my love for video games, as well as my survival of my cancer and chemotherapy. And then I'm getting all the way down the bone here. I want to get the staff that I spent 10 years of my life, because I feel like I spent so much of my life getting that I want to carry it with me forever.
Is it just is there something at the end? Is it just a piece of wood?
No, it's got a thing at the top.
For
For any of the real nerds, it's the Nirvana staff, which is the mythic weapon from the Final Fantasy Summoner class. It's been in a lot of Final Fantasy games, but I got it in the MMO. And then recently, for quarantine, I decided to get a small Back to the Future tattoo right here when quarantine is over.
Let's see when any of these happen, you guys.
So that's fun. But anyways, the carrot is important. 500 games is a lot, right? But someone like Brian or Thorgal or Buck, you guys,
500.
you guys play a lot of games. Oh, look at Discord.
I'm like, what?
you play a lot of games, so there has to always be stuff for instant gratification and long-term gratification. Look in.
What? Just Matanos?
Yeah, what?
I said in English, remember?
Oh, in English. Huh. My sleeve will be done before you get a new tattoo. Well, Brian, if you choose to break quarantine protocols to finish your tattoo, then that's on you, man. I'm staying safe.
Well, his city isn't at past 100% ICU.
Yeah. We have no
availability.
emergency room beds. We have no ambulances that can pick you up if you get hurt. And 1 in 5 people who get tested in Los Angeles are positive.
So
I'm staying home.
If your heart stops, they won't bring you to the hospital. Ambulances. They're just like, oh, he dead. Like they're not gonna bring you there, and then you're announced like DOA when you get there, or they don't try to resuscitate you at the hospital. If your heart stops for whatever reason, you gone.
Yeah, so I'm staying
so
in.
It's pretty hardcore right now here.
So this tattoo was done. This tattoo was done by a girl named Alex Strangler. It's like Strangler, and her first name is Alex. If you like Brian, you would love her tattoos. I'll send you a link if you can't find it. She specializes in doing Rocko's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy,
a lot of
Simpsons,
Beavis and Butthead.
Like her tattoos are all super 90s colorful, like weird stuff, combinations of things. But I saw her do a pixel art, and I asked her, and she was up for the challenge, and she did a great job.
She was nervous about doing this one, and she's a great tattoo artist.
Phenomenal.
And she was like, I'm kind of freaked out about this one because it's like, you know.
She did. This was a $200 tattoo, and I tipped her $100 and a box of donuts because she did such a great job. I want her to do my Back to the Future one, so I have to wait. I think she's in Vegas now.
Yeah, she is. She's in Vegas now.
Oh yeah, I saw the starting of your sleeve. That's why I'm saying you would love this girl's work.
I believe, Brian, that yours will be done probably before.
Yeah, well, the real question is the pile of dirty clothes in Julie's room. Will that be emptied out and put away prior to both of us finishing our tattoos? Right. I have a feeling that we will both beat my wife at that game. Just so we're clear.
You're like, I'm going to make fun of her.
Just so we're clear on promised goals getting accomplished, we'll just throw that one out there too. Since somebody is making fun of me live on stream and can't take what she dishes. So this is a good week. I did not expect the games to blow up today. We are averaging like 4 to 5, 6 games active at any given time today. So I'm going to have to let that die down. So I'm guessing 4 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. When it dies down, I will post an announcement that I'll take the server down for maintenance, and then I'll post the update that I showed. So
the armpit hurts to get tattooed, I bet.
Well,
armpit more than when it's like right on a bone.
Yeah, because this was in the sensitive part of your arm, the part that never sees the sun. My next one is right on the bone, and then the Back to the Future one is right where you slit your wrists.
I've heard that one hurts to get it right on the inside of your wrist.
I'm not looking forward to any of those in terms of pain.
Armpit way worse than the bone. Interesting. Okay.
But
it's because you probably can't like oh sorry babe, when you get it somewhere else you can kind of like flex and but there's like nothing you can do about the armpit. You're just like, there's
inside wrist not bad at all. Well, good to know. So yeah, once the games die down later this afternoon, I will be pushing the update, and there will be a client update that is required, and the server update will add the new cards. And there will also be a reset token added to everyone's account who doesn't already have one to reset your collection. So if you haven't used your reset token, go into packs and reset button down here, and might as well use it today because you're going to get another one, and you won't have more than one. So.
Oh, and again, last day if you haven't gotten the holiday avatar card back.
Yeah. Oh, and
no one then.
There will be a forced reset. The latest date will be February 1st. If we decide to do it earlier, I will give at least a week's notice. But
is this the last forced reset?
Probably not. if I had to guess, in the best case scenario of the trajectory right now, like if this trajectory keeps going forward, we'll do a forced reset for the February season. And then towards the end of February, we will have a much larger pool of cards added, maybe even close to being done. And then we'll do a reset in March to tie up all the loose ends. And then possibly content complete for the April season. Yeah, I mean, possibly even March is possible, but balance and stuff is gonna take a lot of time. So it's a lot of work for me. But the goal is getting to the point where most of my work is just getting cards and changing content for tutorial. Like, there's no super deep, hardcore programming tasks every single day. It's just, today I'm going to add 5 cards. Tomorrow I'm going to add 5 more cards. And like, that snowball gets bigger and bigger real fast, as long as the foundational systems are there, which is why we redid the targeting system to help that snowball roll faster. I am careful, Matt, to not say out of beta, because even if we're done with the cards and we're stopping the resets and all that, like, there's still going to be bugs and balance issues. So we will probably ride the early access wave into summer. And then once that, because we'll do these every week. And once we see like less bugs reported, less complaints, we start seeing more positive reviews, we'll know, like, okay, I think we're done with beta. But as long as we're still like getting reports of bugs and how do I reproduce that, and I'm adding more cards, like the early access flag kind of gives us a little bit of knowledge, like a little bit of leeway with new people. Like, we're already getting bad reviews for bugs and unfinished things, and we have the early access tag. Imagine if we got rid of that tag and that review I read earlier, imagine if he was writing a review and he didn't know it was an early access. Oh, it would have been 10 times worse. So yeah. But we'll definitely be out of beta, out of early access in 2021. And hopefully, working on the next phase, more expansions, more, there's a chance we'll never have an expansion, and that's a good thing. There's a chance that all future cards will come from other places, and we will never ask you guys officially to purchase more packs. That is something that I would really like to explore. For example, Hearthstone says, hey, you want to be competitive? I need $500 from you 3 to 4 times a year. And that's a big ask. And a lot of people choose to be free to play. I'm wondering if there's a world where I said, hey, you want to be competitive? I just need about $10 to $20 a month from you. And you could be like top tier competitive. I'm wondering if there's a world where that ask gets more people to contribute than just expecting the whales to drop $500 in every expansion. So feel free to bring that up in Discord and talk about that in Discord and stuff. I think it'd be really cool to always have the base set and always sell those packs, but then have a path towards acquiring all the other cards that doesn't involve just buying packs. For example, single player stories. You give me $1, I give you three matches with a story that unlocks cards as you beat them. And all of a sudden you have the first alien cards, the first white star cards, whatever. And then next month, you give me another $1 and I continue that story and you get more cards. So there's always going to be a path to earn cards, as well as experiencing the great lore that Mutant Chronicles has to offer. I think there's some fun stuff there. Most likely we'll still do packs for a while, at least, as we figure that stuff out. But I do like the idea that is always brought up in the CCG community.
Baby out when I sneezed.
I do like the idea that they always bring up is, why do we have to buy packs? Couldn't there be something else? And there could be. There could be a subscription. I'm not really thinking about that right now, but that's an option. You pay $10 a month to, say, Hearthstone, and you never have to buy a pack. That's a valid business approach for Hearthstone, and it's valid for the players who spend $100 a year instead of $1,500 a year to be legendary. But I don't know. There's a lot to figure out there. So please, if you have any thoughts on how to monetize that stuff, definitely let me know. There's a kitten.
When I sneeze, he comes and checks on me. Every freaking time.
That's the max zoom I got.
Hey, babe. He's so sweet.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this all up, but I appreciate you guys hanging out.
Can we, oh, okay.
What is his name?
Matano.
Why can I not?
It's, hold on. It's Retro. It's Retro Matano. 4. Why is he not showing up? You spelled it right.
That's weird.
The freak?
So I was trying to,
Fucking Twitch.
yeah, it won't let me raid him.
Fuck.
Raid Retro Matano 4. There we go.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
All right, thanks guys for hanging out, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Enjoy the update today.
Buddy.
Something. Hi, Justin. Thank you very much. Okay. Good play, but very bad. What is this sound? Okay.
Still put Italian, though. He didn't change it.
Whoops.
He's talking in English, though. Any key?
Hi,
Good luck, have fun.